You are now listening to theGrio's Black Podcast Network, Black Culture Amplified.
Hi, and welcome to the Blackest Questions. I'm your host, Dr. Christina Greer, politics editor for theGrio and associate professor of political science at Fordham University. In this podcast, we ask our guests 5 of the Blackest Questions so we can learn a little bit more about them and have some fun while we're doing it. We're also going to learn a lot about Black history, past and present. So here's how this works. We have 5 rounds of questions about us, Black history, the entire diaspora, current events, you name it. And with each round, the questions get a little tougher, and the guest has 10 seconds to get it right. If they answer the question correctly, they'll receive 1 symbolic black fist, and they'll hear this. And if they get it wrong, they'll hear this. But we still love them anyway.
Our guest for this episode is 4-time Olympic medalist Cullen Jones, and he's a history maker himself. He's the first Black swimmer to hold a world record. He was also a part of the legendary 2008 world record-setting 400-meter freestyle relay team, a record that has yet to be broken. That team, consisting of Cullen, Michael Phelps, Garrett Weber-Gale, and Jason Lezak, brought home a gold medal in what is considered one of the most iconic moments in Olympics history. Cullen is now retired from swimming, is a husband, father, and water safety advocate and ambassador, making it his mission to close the color gap in swimming and teach as many people to swim as possible. Cullen, I am super excited to have you here with us today. Are you ready to play the Blackest Questions?
Dr. Greer, after that intro, absolutely. Let's shoot. Let's do it.
I gotta say, and we've never had a gold medalist here, so I'm just...
Thank you.
And girl, in just a little bit. I'm super excited. Okay, let's get to it. Question number 1. Let's have some fun. This organization started after the acquittal of George Zimmerman in the shooting death of Trayvon Martin back in 2012. Its mission is to eradicate white supremacy and support Black communities who are victims of violence. What is the name of this organization?
I have no idea.
So the answer is Black Lives Matter.
Oh, okay, of course.
So the phrase actually began as a hashtag and was used as a way to unite people on social media. The group continued to grow after the deaths of Michael Brown and Eric Garner in 2014 and exploded in popularity following the death of George Floyd in 2020. The organization spearheads demonstrations around the world, usually responding to police brutality and systemic racism, and they have offices in the United States, the United Kingdom, and Canada. So, Cullen, after the death of George Floyd, I know you were instrumental in the response USA Swimming gave to the public. Can you tell us about how you were feeling at the time and why you thought it was important for the sport and its athletes not to stay silent?
Absolutely. And it's funny because, as you said, the hashtag, I was like, yes, Black Lives Matter, of course. And for me, it became very real for me because at that same time, my son was 6 months old. And I came out of my house and later than I expected because I was working and I was walking my dog, and a police officer actually was driving down the street, whipped his car around with the siren and came up to me and was like, is everything okay? And I was actually living in my brother-in-law's house at the time, and he lives in a very nice area, very affluent area. We have some nice cars in the driveway. But what really stuck out to me was I'm sure to him, was my 6'5" Black frame. And he started questioning me about my dog and thank God for my extensive knowledge of dogs. I really don't, Dr. Greer, have an extensive knowledge, but here I am trying to make this officer feel comfortable with me being in this neighborhood when I'm doing nothing but walking my dog. And then I started thinking about my 6-month-old son sitting in his crib, sleeping at that time, that I would have to teach him how to disarm someone with a gun verbally. And it just hit me. And I was so upset. It was 24 hours after watching a man lynched, watching George Floyd. And I said to myself, there's something that I got to do something. I know that swimming has given me a platform to use my voice. I've been doing it for, at that time, 13 years about learning to swim with the Mega Splash initiative, but there was something more I needed to do. And so I called up all of the Black swimmers that I knew, Maritza Karaya, Sabir Muhammad, and all of these legendary swimmers, and said, we've got to do something. We've got to do better. We've got to do more. And we started Team Black, which is essentially a council that actually helps with the USA Swimming's diversity, equity, and inclusion group as just a council. We have swam every life cycle. How do we make the sport more inclusive of what our country looks like. I know swimming is a white dominated sport, but we can change that with some of the success that we've had with Simone Manuel, with Leah Neal, with myself, with so many others. How do we change that? And so that's when I said no more. So long I've been using my platforms to be kind of, non-biased, but I couldn't stay silent anymore after that.
Yeah. And so you've been quite open about the racial gap in swimming. So tell us more about that. And you mentioned in passing the Splash Initiative, and what it's like to be quite successful in a sport that doesn't have a lot of people who look like you. You're excelling at the highest levels, and you're also trying to bring in more people to the sport in what's sometimes not a welcoming environment.
Absolutely. In 2008, as you can imagine, being Black in the Jersey, New York area in the 90s, wearing a Speedo and while all your friends are playing basketball and football, I got hazed quite a bit. I got some comments thrown at me a little bit. So, change it. Yeah. Dr. Greer, change it a little bit when you bring home gold medal. Then it's like,
right. It's like, that Speedo's dope, bro.
Changes the whole narrative and changes everything that people say to you. But, right after that gold medal, one of my friends said, do you know what you just did for the sport of swimming? And I had no idea what they meant by that. And I started to kind of do a little bit of research, but then USA Swimming Foundation and then Phillips 66 approached me, and the University of UNLV and University of Memphis did a study, and the numbers were just astounding. 70% at that time, 70% of African Americans didn't know how to swim. 60% of Latino Americans didn't know how to swim, and 48% of Caucasians didn't know how to swim. So this was a U.S. cultural problem. It was the second leading cause of death for kids under the 14 next to car crashes. But it's like, we don't see this every day, so a lot of people don't recognize it. Nearly 10 people drown a day. Like, these numbers are absolutely staggering. And the CDC sees it as an epidemic. And so it was that moment that I started saying, okay, this is how I can help. This is how I can help change things. So we started the Make a Splash initiative, and we started touring in 2009. And
drowning takes too many young lives,
but it's totally preventable.
Swim lessons!
Studies show that lessons reduce that risk by 88%.
Go to usaswimmingfoundation.org and enroll your child today.
We just celebrated 15 years this year, but the focus is really trying to try to get more kids of all races and color, but definitely in the Black community, to learn to swim, because we've found out that generationally we can understand, given segregation and slavery, why there is a disproportionate number. But in 2023, unfortunately, we as Black Americans still say to ourselves, oh, swimming, we don't do that.
Right.
But meanwhile, we're likely to drown 5 times more than any other race.
Right.
So it's more about not thinking, oh, we're cool because we don't do that. It's about saving lives. And so that's why, as you can tell, I'm passionate, Dr. Greer. I'm passionate about this.
And, and I love this because, I took swim lessons when I was a kid. I grew up in the Philadelphia area. So, a little bit of PDR. I did a summer Philadelphia Department of Recreation, and obviously there's movies written about them. But over the course of our conversation, we're going to delve a little bit deeper into some of these statistics and the work that you're doing. I mean, you are not just talented as an Olympic gold medalist, but a real blessing when it comes to the Black community and demystifying some of the dangers of water and how we can actually, as a larger racial group, actually save lives, literally. Okay, so question number 2. I feel this one's going to be a good one for you, Cullen. You ready?
I'm ready.
This swimmer made history back in 2016 when she became the first Black woman to take home an Olympic gold medal in an individual swimming event. Who is she?
I'm going to go with Simone Manuel.
You are correct. Simone has 5. You mentioned her in passing, so I was like, oh, I hope he gets this one. So Simone has 5 Olympic medals, 2 gold, 2 silver, and 1 bronze, and she holds 3 world records as a member of a relay team, and she broke several school records while at Stanford University. So I know that Simone's an ambassador for the Make a Splash organization. I know you all came together as a collective to make sure you educated not just the Black community, but young people writ large. But what are you all up to right now and for this summer that's coming up?
We are traveling to Houston. We're traveling to Lake Charles and Roxana, Illinois, to just try to spread that word and continue that message we know that once we get people to understand the importance, it changes lives. It changes the family dynamic, and it really helps people from, listen, we never say safe. We don't want to say safe, because as good of a swimmer as I am, if I'm caught in a riptide, that's going to be very difficult for me as well. So we want to tell people is that be safer around the water. We want to help with swim lessons. We want to make sure that people are getting these swim lessons. And USA Swimming Foundation and Phillips 66 have made it very easy just by going on to the website of usaswimming.org/make-a-splash or foundation, and you can learn how to get lessons in your area, because we have local partners everywhere, or you can help someone else.
Give us that website one more time.
Yeah, it's usaswimming.org/make-a-splash, or you can go /foundation. Either one works. And you can find out more about how you can sign up your child or another child you know, because we all know somebody who doesn't know how to swim. And honestly, this gift it's life-saving. It's literally, we are the only sport that exists that by doing this sport, it will save your life.
Absolutely. Now, I read a story about, you going to Dorney Park, and I used to go to Dorney Park when I was a kid growing up in Philly. And so I read a story about, you having a really life-changing experience while in the water. Did you come from a family of swimmers or people who knew how to swim, or were you sort of the first one in your family to really get these lessons and take it seriously?
Well, I will say, I'll give my dad some credit. My dad did know how to swim. He could get across the pool pretty well. He wasn't doing flip turns or anything crazy like I do, but he was definitely able to kind of keep himself above. My mom didn't know how to swim. And as you said, and I'm so happy you brought up PDR, because Coach Ellis is a big mentor to me. I love that guy. And PDR is, we swam against PDR. My team swam against him, but there was much love for Philly in New Jersey. So as you said, I was at Dorney Park, a 5-year-old, only child with his parents, and my dad wanted to get on the biggest ride there. If he wanted to get on it, I want to get on it too. So I was very excited to hop on, but I'd never had swim lessons. And so my dad went down the ride first, I went down second, and as he was handing the inner tube to the next person, because it was the most popular ride, I came down, flipped upside down, and was underwater. Now, I'd never had swim lessons. I didn't know what to do. He only told me and made me promise to hold on to the inner tube. Whatever you do, don't let go. So I'm underwater holding on to this inner tube. And I think what's so important about the story is that there were lifeguards there. My parents were there. And so many times we think about it in theater, the year, help, no, help. Like, that's what we expect to hear when someone's drowning, but that's not what happens. Many times it's silent. People go underwater and then they're unable to come back up. And so, and don't even let me get on cell phones. All it takes is one little ping of us not paying attention. And that's what my dad was doing. He was handing the inner tube to someone else and didn't see me coming down. So that's why it's so important. I had to be resuscitated that day. But I remember my parents standing over me, Cullen, are you okay? And the first thing that came out of my mouth was, what's the next ride? Are we getting on?
Dad,
don't leave me. Ride.
Right. But I mean, I think that's such a pivotal moment in your life. And now fast forward 30 some odd years, you're able to help save so many other lives and educate so many people about it, because it is, you're absolutely correct. We hear so much about, like, in the movies, we see people quote unquote drowning, but honestly, Cullen, I think about all the athletes we hear every year who have private pools, who lose children in their private homes, and it's tragedy after tragedy, and not just athletes, just, people in the country writ large, and how it is literally just a split second of not seeing something happen.
Absolutely. And that's why it is so important that we try to not only teach our kids, because I gave my mom, I'm not going to tell her age, because
Black don't crack, doesn't matter.
I ain't going to do that, because then I'm going to have to deal with it. But she is learning to swim. She's learning right now. And it does not matter what your age is. It is important to learn to swim. We are not built for the water, but we can be safer around the water with formal lessons. So I don't want to hear it, because I know someone is going to give me some excuse when they watch this and say, oh, well, I am allergic to... No,
No. And it's like, you know what? And there's enough protective styles for our hair that we can figure it out. There's good conditioners. Before we go to question number 3, I just pity the teacher where it's just like, so wait, your son is Cullen Jones? Like, I'm supposed to teach Cullen Jones' mama how to swim? No pressure. No pressure. Okay, Cullen, you ready for question number 3? You're doing
I am.
Okay. Question number 3 in the Blackest Question. History was made during the 2023 NFL Draft when 3 of the 4 overall picks were black quarterbacks. The number 1 pick went to the Carolina Panthers. Who is this football player?
Oh, my goodness. You're getting me because I just saw him actually do in Charlotte. Oh, give it to me.
Okay, it's Bryce Young.
Hey, that's right.
Bryce Young was the star of the University of Alabama. I know. Listen, Cullen. Every time I play this game, I played it with my podcast siblings, Panama Jackson and Michael Harriet. I've been 0 for 10. Okay, it's always the tip of the tongue. It's like this is why I like to be on the other side asking the questions. But Bryce Young was a star at the University of Alabama and won the league's top honor in 2021 when he took home the Heisman Trophy. And after being drafted, Young said he was grateful to the other black players he called pioneers, saying so many black men have been overlooked throughout the years. And so Bryce Young grew up loving basketball and actually started his football career playing at the running back position before switching to quarterback. Now, as you know, I grew up in Philly, so I grew up in the Randall Cunningham era, black quarterbacks. And in my household, it's like, we supported black quarterbacks and black coaches. But I know you went to North Carolina State University in Raleigh. Yes. Are you a Panthers fan?
Look, I grew up, I am a Panthers fan now because I've become friends with quite a few Panther players, but I'm still a Giants fan. I grew up in New York, Jersey area. I can't give up my Giants.
That's right. And listen, and the Giants are looking good. At some point, as a payback appreciation for you coming on the podcast, we'll go to a Giants game. We'll take your son, we'll take your wife. We'll have a whole Blackest Questions day of celebrating the Giants because I do enjoy watching the Giants. So I know you are an Olympic swimmer, as all of our listeners know. What other sports do you enjoy watching or even playing?
Definitely watching my Knicks.
Okay.
I'm watching Jimmy Butler's not being too nice to us right now, but it's okay. It's all right.
I call him Jimmy Butler 0% body fat. I'm like, where?
I'm just happy to see the Knicks in the playoffs again. Yes. It's been a while since John Starks and Patrick Ewing. I'm happy to see us back in the playoffs. So I'm a happy Knicks fan right now.
Okay.
But yeah, I love playing basketball. My dad was a basketball player, wanted me to be a basketball player. And I mean,
6'5", I see why.
Yeah, why I'm a little. It helps with swimming too. It helps with swimming too. You got to reach for that wall. But basketball is definitely something that I love to play. I like boxing, honestly. That was my cross training, and it's kind of become something that has been a little bit of not an obsession, but I definitely enjoy it.
Do you find the core strength helps you with swimming?
100%. And that was what was the biggest piece that my coach actually introduced it to me and said, we're going to do some boxing, just some of the core technique things. And it kind of threw me for the first, I would say 6 months of us doing it. But then when I got in the water, I realized, the core strength is really, it was really transferable over to swimming as well. And then I just never stopped. So I love it.
Well, Cullen, I went boxing a few times. I hang out with a lot of comedians and a lot of them box. So I went with a friend and, they're all, sparring. And so the teacher was like, wait, I don't think you have a core. And I was like, I don't know. Like, who knows? I haven't played field hockey and lacrosse since high school.
Yeah.
And so he basically was like, no, I need to have you do some drills because if not, you're going to hurt yourself. Like, there's literally nothing holding your body together right now.
Oh, yeah.
He literally had me jumping. You jump from the ground up to the boxing ring. So that kind of, what is it, like a 2 or 3 foot jump? Yep. And so I was like, okay. And he's like, just do that. And I was like, well, how long? He's like, till I come back and get you. He was like, we need to work on this. He was like, I don't know what is holding you together, but it ain't muscle. All right. Okay, we're going to take a quick commercial break. I'm with Olympic gold medalist Cullen Jones, and we're playing the Blackest Questions. Okay, we're back. I'm here with Cullen Jones. Cullen, you're doing incredibly well. Are you ready for question number 4 in the Blackest Questions?
I'm trying. Let's go. Let's do it. I'm ready for 4.
Killing it.
Let's go.
And as I say every episode, Cullen, Black history is American history. And so we just want our listeners to know a little bit more beyond kind of what is, the little sprinklings of Black history that we're taught in school. I think it's just so important for them to know who you are as a swimmer, you and your colleagues, but also all the great ways that we contribute to American and international society beyond what is often talked about. So, question number 4. This former civil rights activist was once a swimmer at Howard University. He went on to become a United States congressman and the mayor of Atlanta. Who is he?
And the mayor of Atlanta. And a swimmer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, you got me stumped here.
Okay, it's Andrew Young.
Yeah.
So Andrew Young was a
That's who I was
pastor.
keeping too, but I didn't know that he was the mayor of Atlanta. That's what was throwing me off. Okay.
At one, and he's part of the long lineage of Black mayors in Atlanta. But when he was a pastor, he met fellow clergyman Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The two became fast friends and remained close until Dr. King's assassination. Right. Young eventually got into politics and was the first Black person to be appointed as an ambassador to the United Nations. In 1981, he was encouraged by his friend, Coretta Scott King, to run for mayor of Atlanta, which he did. He won 55% of the vote. Later in 1996, he was the co-chairman of the Summer Olympics Committee and is credited with helping to bring the games to Atlanta. And shout out to Howard University's men's swimming team, who won the conference championship this year for the first time in 34 years. So, and I know Howard University has a long legacy of great swimmers. So have you had a chance to meet Andrew Young?
I did have an opportunity back in 2012. That's why I'm so embarrassed that I didn't know the Atlanta piece is what threw me off. But yes, I had an amazing opportunity to sit down with him, and just what an amazing conversation. But just like I picked up so many nuggets from him. He just kept telling me stories about what he was going. You swim? Oh yeah, I swim, and that's why the connection was there. But I've gotten to meet him. It was such a pleasure to sit down and to chat with him and for him to say your history. I'm like, no, sir, you are history. I'm just trying to continue what you've paved. So it was definitely a blessing getting to meet him.
Yeah, and when you're thinking back on your Olympic run, and you're part of this historic relay team of all time. And you're on a team with 3 white men.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think it'll take to really diversify the sport, where it's not just 3 white men and one Black man, and it could look like the United Nations in the pool on one team together? What do you think we really need to do to continue to diversify the sport?
I think representation is everything. When we got together for Team Black and everyone was kind of sitting around, for me, looking at just the generations, this was during COVID, so we were all on Zoom, so I was looking at boxes, but to be able to see all of the faces that were on that call was amazing. And to think about my son, I'm like, how do I get this sport to look like what I'm seeing right here? Because my son, who's been in the water since 6 months, is like, Daddy, we going swimming today? Daddy, we going swimming today? And so I don't want him to feel what I felt many times when it came to the racial disparity, especially when I got into higher levels of swimming. And I think a lot of it is, again, representation. We are seeing it going in the right direction. I've got to tell you, we've got some amazing talents in Natalie Hine, in Shane Cassis, in Reese Whitley. There's a lot of very, very promising swimmers that are coming up that are just going to really make a name for themselves, even in next year's Paris Olympics, but definitely when it comes back to LA in 2028. So we're trending in the right direction. We've seen it in tennis with Venus and Serena. We've seen it in golf with Tiger. I picked up my clubs. Was not very good, but I watched him do it, so I tried it too. So representation is huge, but the other piece is education. We need to educate parents that not only, again, is swimming a great sport, but it is a life skill, and then really getting more and more swimmers or people of color to become swimmers, and then look at swimming as something that could get them out of their circumstance. I grew up in the hood, and for me, swimming was just an outlet. I would have never guessed that I could have traveled the world with swimming. That just wasn't on my mind, but I never had someone to look to. So I'm hoping that young swimmers can look at people like Simone or me or, a Shane Cassis or Natalie Hine and say, oh, you know what? Not to take anything from other sports. We like football, we like basketball, we like track, but there are other routes too that you can travel the world and just be super successful, hyper successful.
Time for a quick break. We'll be right back. You ready for your last proper question?
I'm ready for my last proper question.
Okay. This hip-hop group from the Bronx was the
Okay.
first hip-hop group to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Who are they?
From the Bronx?
From the Boogie Down.
Boogie Down. Where's KRS-One from?
Where is he from? Uh-oh. My audience is going to be like, Chrissy, you should know that. Well, I know
See?
it's
I'm like,
right?
Back. I don't know. Who is it?
Okay, it's Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five.
Well,
So the group was formed in 1978 in the South Bronx. South Bronx. And their song, The Message, was selected by the Library of Congress to be one of the first 50 songs to be added to the National Recording Registry in its first year of archival.
Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head.
And the group is also credited as being the first to use the term MC, Master of Ceremonies. So I know you were born in the Boogie Down, but you moved to New Jersey when you were still very young. Do you remember any of your time in New York City?
Oh, all the time. So my family, when my mom and my dad, we moved to Jersey, all of the rest of my family was still in New York. So most of my weekends were in New York. We would take the train in, and that's why it's my favorite place. It is still home to me whenever I get off the plane and walk through LaGuardia or whatever airport. I'm like, yes, I'm home. I can feel it every time I come home.
You can feel it. Now, what's your favorite thing to do in New York? Is it just to hang out with your family at home, or do you actually, do you swim in the Hudson like some people? Do you go to a particular pool? Like, do you go to the beaches? I mean, there's so many beautiful beaches
People are
in
gonna
New
make
York
fun of
City.
me. No, the first thing you do is get pizza. You got to get a slice.
Gotta get a slice.
You got to get a slice.
Now, what kind of slice do you get, though?
So normally I
mean,
could
like,
just
listen,
cheese.
you're
I
on
could
some
just do
Jimmy
cheese.
Butler zero body fat kind of thing right now.
No. I'll work it all. I'll go swim. But I'm going to get that slice. So
Okay.
I'll do pepperoni, I'll do cheese, and then people going to make fun of me for this. I like pepperoni and broccoli pizza.
Solid.
It is amazing.
Solid.
And there's a spot called Carve. It's actually, and a lot of times when I fly in, I'm usually somewhere around Times Square, even though I'd rather not be. I usually go to this place called Carve, and I will get a pepperoni and broccoli pizza, and I'm good.
Now, see, if I'm doing pepperoni, I'm doing like a pepperoni green pepper, or I'm doing like a sausage and mushroom.
Oh, I can definitely do that too. Oh,
like those are sort of my two. And like, there's nothing like a good slice. You know, and I'm also, though, I do prefer a thin crust as opposed to the sort of more Chicago. I went to high school in Illinois.
Yeah.
I prefer that to like a deep dish type style.
Okay, here we go. New York, Detroit, Chicago. Sorry, I know I'm gonna get it in the message boards. I know, but that's the level. I'm sorry.
Now here's a question: does St. Louis pizza rank anywhere for you?
Oh, I do like St. Louis pizza too.
Yeah, I mean those St. Louis pizza folks. I mean they're serious about like emos and all this other stuff, but like I feel like they've got some solid pizza. I love a really good. I really love a good thin crust.
New York's gonna win.
New York pizza, no, hands down. You got it. Now, here's a question though: are you the type of person to swim in the Hudson?
No, I'm with you, Dr. Greer. I look for a black line at the bottom of the pool. Like, everyone's like, "Hey, Cullen, why don't you swim this open water?" And I will do it if it's for a charity because it's for a charity and it's usually to help others, but not by choice. No. No. I respect the ocean. I love it, but I stick to my pool.
Okay. So, Cullen, I'm so thoroughly enjoying talking to you. I mean, what you're doing is just so exciting. So before we get to the Black Lightning Round, I want to share a couple of statistics with our listeners. And you've mentioned them before, but I want to go back over them. So according to the CDC, Black Americans drown at a rate 50% higher than white Americans. And as you mentioned earlier, USA Swimming reports nearly 70% of Black children can't swim. So to our parents who are listening to this podcast, to anyone else who's listening who's interested, what are some tips or things you'd like them to know as their kids are swimming and getting ready to get into the water this summer?
Absolutely. So the first thing, there is no substitute for formal lessons. I don't care where you go learn to swim. Have someone that is accredited, that knows how to teach and will teach you swim lessons. When I nearly drowned at 5, I went through 5 different teachers. So I understand. I completely sympathize with everyone that's out there that says, I'm scared, I've had bad experience. Being near water, we need to be safer around the water. So that is the first thing. The second thing is you never swim alone, ever. Okay. Even as an Olympian, I never swim alone. I always make sure that there's a lifeguard there, there's someone else there, and always have a friend. It's even more fun when you can have someone around you that to be around you. And the third thing is, when we have people that are unfortunately in distress, I don't care if it's my mom. If she needs to get air, and I try to jump in to try to help her, her first natural instinct is to push me under. So it is to throw something to someone and pull them to safety. Or if I'm holding on to something, reach to pull them to safety. But you never jump in without anything else to try to help someone else. So you reach, don't go.
Right. Wow. I think that information is incredibly important, because I think for so many of us, the natural inclination to say, I see someone I love in distress, or I see a stranger in distress, and we hear a tragic story. In New York, we always have a lifeguard shortage, and unfortunately, every summer we hear terrible stories about people running into the ocean to try and save someone, and things going south really quickly. Okay, So before I let you out of here, we're going to play the Black Lightning round. Now, this, Cullen, there's no right or wrong answer. You just tell me the first thing that comes to your mind and to your heart. You ready?
Yes.
Who is your favorite all-time athlete?
Michael Jordan.
Would you rather swim in a pool or in nature?
In the pool.
One of these shows has to go. Martin, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Jamie Foxx show.
Come on now.
I didn't say it was going to be easy, Cullen.
I'm sorry, because I met him, and he is such a good guy, but sorry, Jamie. I can't let go of Fresh Prince of Martin.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Night owl.
Okay. What's your favorite race to swim? Or maybe your favorite stroke?
50 freestyle is definitely my favorite.
Okay.
One lap.
I used to love the backstroke.
I'm sorry?
I used to love the backstroke.
Oh, I love watching it. It just, and I started off as a backstroker, and I love watching butterfly. I love watching it. Doing it.
Butterfly gives me agita. I don't enjoy watching butterfly. It's too much for me. It's like too much water.
It's the core.
You know what? That's my spirit. It's like, girls, too much work. Get out of there. Okay. What's your favorite guilty pleasure when you're not training? What kind of snack do you sneak in and you can't get enough?
Ice cream, for sure.
Okay. What's your flavor?
Honestly, it doesn't matter. I'm like mint chocolate
you're one
chip,
of those ice cream people.
Pecan, like swirl. I'll do a swirl. I love chocolate and vanilla together.
Okay. Now, see, I've had the same favorite flavor since I was 8 years old, cookies and cream. I'm like a cookies and cream connoisseur.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Last question. Do you actually eat Wheaties?
Do I actually eat Wheaties? I used to, yes. I used to actually eat Wheaties.
Oh, Cullen Jones, I am
Is this why you're asking? Hold on.
Yeah.
Is this why you're asking? Is that it?
I'm just, for our listeners to the podcast, when you show up on a Wheaties box, I gotta be curious as to whether or not you eat the Wheaties, right? I mean,
gotta get the Wheaties.
Not everybody is on a Wheaties box. I'm sitting here talking to an Olympic athlete. I want to thank you, Cullen Jones, for joining us and playing the Blackest Questions with us.
Thank you for having me.
I want to thank you all listeners for tuning into the Blackest Questions. This show is produced by Sasha Armstrong and Jeffrey Trudeau, and Regina Griffin is our director of podcasts. If you like what you heard, subscribe to this podcast so you never miss an episode, and you can find more from the GRIO Black Podcast Network on the GRIO app, the website, and YouTube.
We started this podcast to talk about not just what Black writers write about, but how.
Well, personally, it's on my bucket list to have one of my books banned. I know that's probably bad, but I think...
Ooh, spicy.
They were yelling N-word, go home. And I was looking around for the N-word because I knew it couldn't be me because I was a queen.
But I'm telling people to quit this mentality of identifying ourselves by our work, to start to live our lives, and to redefine the whole concept of how we work and where we work and why we work in the first place.
My biggest strength throughout my career has been having incredible mentors, and specifically Black women.
I've been writing poetry since I was like 8. I've been reading Langston Hughes and James Baldwin and Maya Angelou and so forth and so on since I was like a little kid.
Like the banjo was blackity black, right? Mm-hmm. For many years. Yes. Everybody knew.
Because sometimes I'm just doing some Sam that because I just want to do it.
An honor to be here. Thank you for doing the work that you're doing. Keep shining bright. And like you said, we gonna keep writing black.
As always, you can find us on the theGrio app or wherever you find your podcasts.